Hello, Star Wars fans, and welcome back. Hey, I've been on vacation. It was Mrs. Claus and I. We had our 34th wedding anniversary just last week and took some time off. Of course, couldn't post my Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 9, Episode 1 reaction. So wanted to talk today a lot about what happened in the first episode of the second season, talk a little bit about Mando Monday, and just our joy and enthusiasm over the series being back. We have new Star Wars content to discuss, and it's just a ton of fun. Hey, Mike, welcome. And of course, Mark, welcome. Thanks for being here. And so I thought we'd jump in today. There's a whole lot to discuss. First of all, there's 51 days until Christmas 2020, and we're taking reservations now. They're starting to book and schedule Santas for JingleRing visits. So if you haven't done that, or if you have tried to do that, you can see the information here. The code to get me as your Santa is Jingle40. You have to put in Jingle40, and you should get my schedule and be able to schedule some time to visit with your family. Oh, hello, Callisto. Good to have you here today. Good to be back. Good to be back with you all and talking some more Star Wars. So there's as I was kind of alluding to, there's a lot to discuss, and I thought I would start with a little bit of a short topic, but share this with you all. They've Hasbro and StarWars.com have a weekly release of new merchandise, and they call that Mando Monday. And yesterday was a pretty weak release, if you ask me. They came out in the first week with a huge announcement, lots of new products, toys, games, all kinds of great content. They had guests on from the series. We had just a wonderful, wonderful first week. And then week 2 comes out, and all we got was this email. And I'll show you all because you can subscribe to this, but we got the Star Wars Mando Mondays available today. It says that, of course, this is yesterday. Today on Hasbro Pulse, beginning around 4 p.m. So this is it. They had the Mandalorian. Now, of course, this is great. We get a new vintage collection Mandalorian in his Beskar armor here, but it's a great figure, a wonderful figure. It looks fantastic. But then what we had was, and then they announced unlocks 4 and 5 for the Razor Crest. And that's going very well, by the way, too. We'll touch base on that. But so at 4 o'clock Eastern yesterday, and Mark and I were kind of chatting back and forth a little bit. I got on to Hasbro and I started hitting refresh so that I could put in an order for one of these figures. And it came up finally. It said, you can pre-order is open. I hit the pre-order and went through to check out, and items sold out. And obviously it wasn't sold out. They just didn't have things in line yet, and just kept hitting refresh and refresh and refresh. No luck. Mark told me that he was able to get it on a different site. So I logged into the other site. I was able to get mine as well. But this daggone thing, Hasbro really, really dropped the ball on week 2 Mando Monday. I thought it was terrible. They set us up for this, and they've hyped it, and they've given us some great products. But the Hasbro Pulse site was a disaster. They botched week 2 huge. So Reefer Man reviews. Oh, there you go again. You're high again, Reefer Man. No, I didn't say I was hitting the reefer. I was saying I was hitting the refresh. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I can't I can't disagree at all with Mark. That Hasbro Pulse site yesterday was an absolute disaster. People trying to order it couldn't get through. At one point, I did get, hey, your order is going through. Don't hit anything. You're in line. And then it refreshed and said sold out. I didn't touch anything. It came up and said sold out. I couldn't get anything. Gray, not you too. No, Santa's not hitting the reefer. He's hitting the refresh. You guys, it's great to have you all here. Hello, Gray. Thanks for joining. Just wanted to talk about that Mando Monday botch that Hasbro had yesterday. Look, they've got to get that act straightened out. They know the demand is high on this Mandalorian stuff, and how could they not capitalize on the biggest thing this year? Exactly, Mike. That's exactly right, because they know people are queued up. They know people are hitting that refresh, and their ordering on the site was just a cluster. It was absolute mess, and people ended up getting it off of Amazon and getting it off of other sites, other retailers, because Hasbro couldn't get their act together. So maybe they can get it right next week. Yeah, Hasbro's distribution is an absolute mess. Absolutely. Mark, if they can't, here's the thing. If Hasbro Pulse, if they can't get this ordering thing right, they can't get their website sales right, they can just go ahead and announce, and then let the retailers that can do it, like Amazon and other sites out there. Yeah, Dorkside. I was out there at Dorkside. Dorkside went just fine. It went through smooth, no problems, no hassle. Was able to get my order in. It was perfect. Could not have asked for a better experience. Dorkside went great. Will Morgan, hello, welcome. So yeah, the Star Wars toys are huge. You know, Mike. So over vacation, we went up into Amish country here in Ohio, and I spent some time going around to different stores and retailers and such, and the Star Wars sections are starting to fill out in the stores. It's kind of fun to see, but they're also selling out really quickly. So I know, like Target had a special release and exclusive of the Santa Trooper, and you could get it online. It was supposed to be in stores as well. You can't find it in stores. That thing sold out. If you go to Walmart and look at their vintage collection figures, they're sold out. They're moving off the shelves very quickly. So it's absolute. It's fantastic to see it, and it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. And yeah, the Amish, yeah, they whittle them out of wood. No, so went to a lot. My hope was last week to go around to some of the thrift stores and some of the different bargain kind of places that they have up there. They've got a lot of what are they called? Antiques and thrift stores. And you can go out and find a lot of things that people are selling. And the Star Wars stuff was pretty thin. And up in Amish country, it's become a thing. And folks go out there and everything's selling at high retail. So what you find things on eBay for, or you find on other resellers for, that's what you find it for in these flea markets even. So, you know, my idea of a flea market is somebody getting rid of their old junk, and it goes cheap. It's like a yard sale, but it organized. But no, these flea markets up there were marked at full retail, and maybe even higher. So there were no deals to be had, and all the stores were sold out. Yeah, they don't waddle, they whittle them. I got what you meant, Mike. So so the toys are moving quickly. It's great to see. These Mando Mondays are a lot of fun. The products they're coming out with are in high demand, but they're just it was so poorly managed. And there's rumors that this next week we're going to get a couple of other really high demand figures. I think Grief Karga is the one that we're expecting next week. We'll see how that goes. So that's Mando Monday. I wanted to start off. people accuse Santa of being just a shill or a fanboy. I can tell you that was terribly mismanaged. The next thing I wanted to talk about, we've got the titles. So, of course, we speculated right before the season started what might we get, and those season titles we went through and we speculated based off of them, right? So we had the search, the confrontation, so on, and we know that Meta Egg. Oh, welcome. Good to have you here. I want a whittled waddle. Oh, you guys are great. That's great. Mark, they're selling out because scalpers are buying entire inventories from big box stores, putting them on eBay. That's absolutely true. They're selling them demand. That's true. We even had this when the pandemic first went by, and some of these guys got in a lot of trouble because they would go rent like U-Haul trailers and hit every big box store in their region within hundreds of miles and hit all of them and completely wipe them out of things that are in demand. And they've learned that this could become a way of living, a way that they can support their families by being eBay resellers, right? And so they just go out and they keep their kind of pulse on the things that are in high demand, and they go buy them all up, creating then a supply and demand shortage where they become then the only supplier because they've bought up all the inventory. And then they can mark up the prices way over retail. They did that with webcams as well during when people were trying to set up their home offices. Webcams shot through the roof. You couldn't get them for retail cost. And so that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. I'll get to episode 2 in just a second here, Mike. So we have these titles, and we know now that these titles are bogus, right? Because chapter 1 was leaked as The Search, and this was way back in April. If you go out to Wikipedia now and you look at the titles, they still have 10 through 16 following the exact titles, the confrontation through the Empire here, that they had back in April. The only one that they've changed is episode 1. This is bogus. We know these are bogus. There's no way that these are going to be the titles of the upcoming episodes. And we already know a little bit of the plot details, and this where we'll talk about this. We know a little bit about the plot details of episode 2, where the IMDb and other TV sites, entertainment sites have posted this short blurb saying that they're going on a voyage, right? Right. These titles cannot be believed. Exactly. Cannot be believed. There's absolutely right. So, Scalpers drive me nuts. Right. I got really angry about it when I was trying to get a new webcam too. The titles can't believe. And so episode 2, I don't believe for a moment that it's called The Confrontation. I believe it's going to be something else. And I believe episode 2 is going to revolve around that, the scenes that we've seen on the dock and in the ocean, where they're sailing. The short synopsis that's shown up like on IMDb and things lead you to believe that it's more of a sailing kind of thing, more of a water-based thing. So I think there was the big reveal in episode 1. I'm dying to talk about episode 1, chapter 9. Dying to talk about it. We'll get there in just a moment. But the big reveal at the end with Boba Fett, I don't think we're going to see him again right away. I think we're going to move away from that. We might get a brief glimpse of him at the beginning, but honestly, folks, I don't think so. I think we're going to find ourselves going to another planet, much the way of again, Paper Moon, that movie that it was based, that the story's modeled after. I think we're going to see that be the way it goes. Callisto. I think The Search will be the scene of the second season. Absolutely. It won't finish till the end. Exactly. So it's going to follow the basic storyline of Paper Moon, where they're going to look for his people, and they're going to find it right at the very end. exactly. Not the real claws. Oh, of course, because I'm the real claws. Hey, welcome. Good to have you here. Good to see you. Yeah, I think Boba Fett's going to be later. And Meta Egg, I have a feeling the title of The Mandalorian is plural. Oh, there's some speculation about that. So I think episode 2, chapter 10, is certainly not the confrontation. I don't think that's going to be it at all. It's going to be more of the voyage or something like that. And we're going to see them go out looking for the next quest on another planet. There's been a talk, what is this water world? And I even recently saw that some speculation could be Camino. I don't think so. I don't think it's Camino. I think it's Mon Cala. We'll see for sure. But and actually, I think it's another planet entirely, borrowed from the comic book series. We'll see where that goes. I really think it's going to be a different planet. Yeah, Mark, thanks for posting that synopsis here. It says, must ferry a passenger's precious cargo on a risky journey. So there was some speculation. We talked about this with a magic maker from Reimagining Star Wars, where the Mandalorian appears in that trailer to be protecting that mother and father with their eggs. He seems to be protecting them. He's a hired hand, if you will, or a bodyguard for them, and they're going on his way. And the precious cargo is their babies, those eggs. And that being in there, and yeah, ferry being the key word. So I think that absolutely that's going to be the episode. I don't think we're going to get Boba Fett. They've set him up, and we're going to see him come through later. But I don't think that's going to happen at all in episode 2. I think we're going to most of what we've seen in the trailer we're going to see in this episode. So, and talking about the Mandalorian being plural, I want to come back to that for a moment. There's talk about the Mandalorian being Mandalorians, if you will, or that it could be not only Din Djarin, could be Boba Fett. If they retcon, make him a Mandalorian, and we could get Bo-Katan. We could get other. There's also talk of another character that may be coming in. Michael Biehn is supposedly going to be playing a character, the recurring character. He could be another Mandalorian. We could get the armorer back, those kind of things. I'm not sure. I think the focus of it is Din Djarin. So I don't know that I buy into this plural idea where we're going to follow multiple. I know a magic maker bought into that, and that's where he's going. He thinks it's going to follow 4 Mandalorians. And and we talked about those last week. What if Jar Jar shows up? Oh boy, you know what? Jar Jar is still alive in this time period. He shows up in the Aftermath novels, actually. In the Aftermath novels, yeah, his life has taken a really dark turn. He's a bit of a court jester, a street performer, juggler, magician type, and yeah, so absolutely we could get Jar Jar. So with those titles being absolutely wrong, yeah, I think episode 2 is going to be more like a sailing kind of thing. It's going to be the voyage. We might even see the title be something more like the voyage than the confrontation. I don't think so. Meta Egg, perhaps it's a return of the Mandas back in a broken society. I think that we're also going to see their multiple factions, much like the Amish. So I mentioned when I was on vacation, there are different sects within the Amish community that have different rules. Some of them are very, very strict on what colors they can wear, for example. They can only wear blacks and grays, no pigment colors. Other Amish will lighten up, and they allow like women to wear light blues, light greens, those kind of colors. And some will allow even more bright or bold colors. And they move from community to community as the elders in that community allow. And up until recently, we didn't see Amish riding bicycles, for example. And in the last few years, bicycles have become a very popular mode of transportation within the Amish community here in Central Ohio, and Northeast Ohio. I'm not sure that that's worked its way into all of them in Pennsylvania, Indiana, but here in Ohio, bicycles are very big. And you might see where we have, let's say, Bo-Katan or other other Mandalorian societies where they actually do take their helmets off. We've seen Bo take her helmet off lots of times. Sabine Wren, she takes her helmet off lots of times. And it could be that they still do. It could be after this great purge event that now they don't across the board, or we might have different factions. And so this Mando's back in a broken society could absolutely be the case. Let's see if I can get back up here and get caught up. Mark, agree that the water ice cave trailer shots are in the next episode. Yep, I absolutely believe. Third episode being heist footage on Navarro. Yes, I agree. I agree. We're on the same. I don't think we've seen anything past the third. Mike, do you think blowing up a dragon will people be underwhelmed if it's not as big? Oh, I'll get back to your question in just a little bit, Mike. It's in the lineup here. Return of the Mandos could be where the story is going, how I see it. Perhaps it's origin rumors leaving Din as the story center. Oh, so that's an interesting take. We did already see in this chapter 9 in the opening where a power vacuum exists, there will be uprising to fill it. And I think with the Empire being knocked out after the Return of the Jedi, well, that's in the time period we're in. We haven't yet seen the rise of the First Order, so we're in this power vacuum. And so that's sort of what happened, and how you end up with Cobb Vanth being the local sheriff who kind of run off the roustabouts who are trying to take over and enslave people. So I am certain that the Mandalorians have risen in some elements, in some areas of the galaxy, to fill that power vacuum. And we're likely to see Mando return back there. So we know he was kind of rescued by the Death Watch. We haven't seen much about them since, and it's quite certain that there are strong elements of Mandalorians in some portions of the galaxy that hold very strong control. So that could be the case. Let's see. Yeah, we could follow. I think what more likely we're going to get offshoots. So we have already heard there's an offshoot where it's supposed to be Bo-Katan and Cara Dune. And my belief is that Cara is going to pledge herself as a Mandalorian under Bo-Katan as a Night Owl. That's my own theory. I think they're setting up Cara Dune. Even her colors on her armor and her armor design kind of lends itself to that Night Owl look. If you look at them side by side, you'll see that they're very similar. So, yeah, I think we might get lots of spin-off shows around, say, the Mandalorians, things like that. I do think we'll get a lot of filler episodes after this week, or you hear that they are. Maybe we're going to find out who Sasha is. Oh, that's coming up right now. Yeah, Sasha is in this next episode, and it's been covered by others as well. But Disney Plus has announced in different markets and different advertising that and confirmed everything we already knew about Ahsoka. And in the advertising, it said, who is Sasha Banks playing? And it kind of leans into it. I think that's going to happen, absolutely. Mike, do you think that huge pearl will show up again? Compressed Kyber Crystal will be an important side story. It absolutely could be, but at this point, we much like season 1, where you get these stories where different groups of people kind of build up some power. or a certain event happens and then he has to go back, he may come back and those desert people, right? They could still have that egg. So we could absolutely see the Tuscans, who are not egg. It's that pearl, right? So that pearl, I think, will come up again, and it may be traded for something. They may use it for some sort of leverage, and I don't know that they're going to get a Kyber out of it. But one of the other, and we'll get here again, Mike. You're ahead of me on all the way. We'll get into this a little bit more about what that Crate Dragon Pearl might entail. Mark, I hope we see Boba chase them off Tatooine and Slave One, shoot about the Razor Crest. Oh, the Razor Crest and Slave One being in a space duel. That's absolutely. Oh, Mark. Very good. Yeah, we might absolutely see a battle between them. I don't think, some people have said that they think Boba and Din Djarin might become allies. I don't think that's the case at all. I think they're going to be adversaries. So here we go. Reefer Man Reviews. I have a video up my channel now where I read the first interlude, introduce Cobb Vanth from Aftermath. I'm going to go 2 more videos. Wonderful. Cobb Vanth. I know what, those Aftermath novels are, I think, highly underrated. And I think that we're starting to see more and more elements picked out of it. And we're going to continue to see more and more elements picked out of it. I'm aware that there are some continuity inconsistencies that people are trying to work out. And there's a lot of talk on some of the Discord channels about these variances. But I think it's going to continue. My joke about the huge pearl, oh, Mike, that's good. Mandalorian would definitely fix the Star Wars fan base. I agree. So let's get on. I've got a couple other things I want to get to. So we talked about these titles being wrong. I think the next one's going to be more like The Voyage than The Confrontation. We'll see. So I want to talk about this Iron Man thing. So I haven't heard a lot of talk about it. And look, for me, The Mandalorian is 11 out of 10, right? I am just blown away by it. I have no criticisms, but I'm just sharing with you some of the things that I've kind of picked up on, and just knowing how this community is and how some folks kind of get sidetracked. I think some references to Iron Man could end up being a little bit of a thorn in the side of some folks. We already saw that, and this was from November of 2019. So season 1, when it first came out, they talk about the Iron Man moment and how there's similarities. We know Jon Favreau was hugely involved with the Iron Man and directed those movies. And so we see a lot of similarities, and I just saw some more this year. So this one, let's see, this is it here, I think. Yeah. So this came from October 31st. So it was from Saturday, and it talked about the Mandalorian premiere pays homage to Robert Downey Jr.'s first Iron Man film. And there's been talk both in 2019 and now in 2020 of similarities. And I've heard people complain that they don't want Star Wars to become like superheroes. They don't want Jedi to be superheroes. But yet Mandalorians, and I think it's fair to say these Mandalorians do have a lot of similarity to Iron Man. With the jetpacks, the missiles, even with the whistling birds that we've seen Din Djarin use a couple of times. All of the weapons and just the mannerisms are very similar to Iron Man. And with Jon Favreau being involved, I think these comparisons are fair. And while I'm not personally bothered by it, and I know Josh Lucas at the Den of Nerds, Josh used to use a phrase called the Star Wars MCU, and it was causing a lot of confusion. People were getting kind of twisted on it, and I gave Josh a hard time about it lots of times. But because the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Star Wars, it wasn't about combining those or having tying them together. But Josh's point all along was how they were going to follow the model of the MCU in creating these like characters and then bringing them together in a big event. And we could very well look today at how the Mandalorian is following a trajectory not unlike Iron Man in many ways. Mandalorians represent like Iron Men, if you will. There's lots of them, and they all have these kind of cool tools and toys, and they are powerful, and that's why they become tremendously collectible, like the Iron Man figures, and kids like to dress up as Iron Man. Mandalorian and Mandalorians, they fall very well into that. You could, and I know a magic maker, his daughter dresses up. She has her own Mandalorian outfit. You've got girl costumes, boy costumes, right, for little kids. And it appeals across the board. It's one of those that I think they call them 4-quadrant, right? These Mandalorians hit all 4 quadrants. While the content is very mature, right? We see we see people getting eaten. We see them getting killed. There's lots of more mature kind of elements in it. They're certainly not like for preschoolers, kindergartners, right? These are fairly intense, and they can create the kind of more mature audience that way. So, but at the same time, I think they still are hugely popular for many kids in that 10 to 12 age range, where it's not too intense for them, and parents can share that with their children and get them involved. And so, I think that we're going to see the Mandalorians. They are that Iron Man. Again, if you'll allow it, they are that Iron Man equivalent within the Star Wars universe. They're not the same by any means, but they have a lot of those kind of crossover applications, and they're going to be great. I've already seen some great from last week. Some wonderful costumes that the kids were dressed up in, and their variations of it. The Cobb Vanth is a huge addition to it, and we'll talk more about Cobb here in just a moment. So let me get caught up again with some of the comments. Reefer Man, Aftermath is amazing, and continuity issues, well, chalk it up a certain point of view. Oh, absolutely. Look, Star Wars invented from a certain point of view, and there's a couple of novels now out that are titled from a certain point of view that give other twists on it. And I have no problem at all with them. I know there was some discrepancies between the Ahsoka novel and how season 7 of the Clone Wars played out. Minor inconsistencies there. And we see just as well here with Boba Fett, and with not only Boba Fett, but Cobb Vanth, some minor inconsistencies that then they need to retcon and join them together and use that certain point of view kind of thing. Mark, Star Wars Meg. Oh, so folks, Star Wars Meg's, I've caught her channel recently. She has some good content. She's playing the YouTube game, though. I'll tell you that. She puts out several videos a day, and she's constantly releasing new news. She is nobody, and please don't misread me. She's not a Mike Zero. She's not even close. She's really good. She puts out some good stuff. She talks about great content. I'm a fan of hers. I subscribe to her, but understand she's playing the YouTube game very well. She puts out these short videos. But anyway, she has a video out about an interview with Karl Weathers recently made, potential hints, basically implying Karga has alternative motives, betraying motive. Perhaps. I mean, he already did that in season 1, right, where he was attacked by those dragons, and then Baby Yoda healed him. So I think she might be stretching there. I don't necessarily buy into that that twist, but at the same time, who knows? The guild is very self-serving. They're after money, and they're trying to seek their own interests. They're not necessarily after the greater good. So that's very possible. Just get caught up. Connected stories, right? The Mando might show up in a spinoff shows. Exactly, and I think it may end up showing up in a movie. Where just like we had Iron Man join up with other superheroes, we might see the Mando join up with other Star Wars characters in a movie, and then you become familiar with who they are. Mark, my 6-year-old watches Deadpool. Right. Oh, I'm not a fan of Deadpool, but I get where you're coming from. Crate dragons eating people, nothing to him, right? Oh, very good, very good. Yeah. So let's move forward. I talked about the superhero kind of twist. Here's another concern I have: is Monster of the Week. I love the animals, the characters, the things that they've brought in. And just to go back, I just did a Google search on Mandalorian Monsters, right? And this is what comes up. And you remember back in episode 1, season 1, episode 1, you had this thing come up and grasp the Razor Crest and latch onto it, and they had to jab it to get it off. Of course, we had the Mudhorn, right? And this season, we've already had those red eye creatures. It hasn't been confirmed what those are. We've seen similar creatures in the Clone Wars animated series and Rebels. So we'll wait to see that confirmed. But I think it might be one of those, as well as those dogs that came out and the Mandalorian called to them that the Tuscans have. So those are all fantastic creatures that they're bringing in. And of course, this week, get back to Mike's question earlier, like the Crate Dragon is a huge, like, boss level character, right? So if you're playing a video game, you get to boss levels. The Crate Dragon was definitely a boss level thing. And we see here that there's another one coming. And Mark, don't get ahead of me. He's getting ahead of me. I just wanted to bring up, we do have another big one coming up, and I think it might be coming in this episode. It's in the trailer. I had it queued up before, but we'll pause it here. It comes up pretty fast. The giant ice spiders. And everybody noticed. Well, I don't know everybody, but a lot of people noticed these ice spiders. We'll come back to this in a bit. So here we come. Ice spiders. Hold on one second. Here we go. So a lot of folks noticed this dead ice spider back here on the wing of the Razor Crest, right? But then we take a closer look. This is a giant leg here, right? There's a giant leg back behind Mando. Here's another giant leg coming down here, right? You can see the joints of it, the knuckle of the joint. So this is a huge old ice spider. And I think that there's a little bit of, again, I worry about the fan base. I worry about how people get grumpy and they start complaining about just the smallest things. I worry about them complaining about Mandalorians becoming superheroes, basically Iron Men of Star Wars. I worry about the complaining about the monster of the week or the new creature of the week to battle. And again, personally, it's an 11 out of 10. I am just blown away by it. There are no complaints from Santa on the Mandalorian, where it's going, how we got there. That episode 9, we'll talk more about it here in just a moment. It was tremendous, absolutely tremendous, and I no complaints. I just worry that people are going to start picking up on the monster of the week, and they'll start complaining about it. Let's catch up again, Mark. Minor inconsistencies can definitely put down to points of view. Karl Weathers, who said Karga had alternative motives, not Meg. Oh, yeah, I know Meg was reporting on it, but a lot of times people will read into a statement and make a story out of it, right? Again, Meg is great. I subscribe to her. I don't always follow. And the nice thing about Star Wars Meg is she will come right off the bat and say, hey, I don't buy into this, or I think there might be. What do you think? So she's really good, and she's playing the YouTube game really well. Monster of the Week, Meta Egg. Speaking of Karl Weathers, I just made a Mando Easter egg video about him. Check it out on Meta Egg. I will. I'll check it out. Thanks for the heads up, Meta Egg. I'll look for it. Yeah, sounds good. Well, people have to complain; they'll never be happy, right? So I wanted to, recently I did an interview with a magic maker with Thor Skywalker, and I've talked a lot about Thor, and I have a lot of respect for Thor. But I think Thor has fallen into a little bit of a habit almost of looking for the negative in playing off of that. And I've seen a little thread of it even in what he's posting about the Mandalorian. And 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 again, Thor Skywalker is a good guy. He's doing. I think overall he's doing good, but he is on more of the negative sphere, right? And so there are others who are far more negative, who are far more damaging within the fan base, who I think are going to start playing off these things and spinning them into bigger stories. And so this is just me kind of giving everybody a heads up. Look, I think we're going to start seeing more complaints about this. Prepare yourselves, right? Just brace yourselves. I have no complaints about it. I think it's great. I think that, and it all comes down to execution. And Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have been hitting home runs every single time in my book, right? Me personally, I see all of these as home runs. Every one of them is fantastic. Some of them are out of the park home runs. Some of them are home runs that just went over the fence, right? But every single one is a home run to me. I love all of them. So no complaints about me, or from me anyway. Let's see. Mark, we'll get Monster of the Week side mission episodes, and then we'll get the meaty stuff with Gideon, the Imperial Remnant, Ahsoka, that'll drive the overall story arc. Right. And it comes into the execution, as I was just saying. Right. You bring in great characters with great stories. And the Monster of the Week isn't the focus. It's part of the characters and the overall story arc. And I thought the Krayt Dragon was executed tremendously, which raises another point. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, look, this episode, the production quality was amazing, absolutely amazing. Even if you look in these stills here, right, you see this giant spider here, the spider back there. Look, it's every bit as good as like the Harry Potter movies, the monsters we saw in those. The production quality, I think, is a shot across the bow of theatrical releases. We know that Disney has reorganized under deciding where to release content, either in the streaming service or to theatrical releases, because of different events going on around the world, different situations. They need to make a case-by-case basis as things come up, where to release it. Do we release it on streaming service, or do we release it in theaters? And I think right now, The Mandalorian has set the bar so high. And we talked about how the volume kind of just revolutionized the technology. And I think the volume season 1 versus the volume season 2 has stepped up a notch. And we fully expected that over time that that quality is going to get better. They're going to innovate more. The technology is going to get more powerful, and they're going to be able to accomplish higher production level quality within the volume itself, keep the production costs lower. Some of those scenes were absolutely expansive, and they looked tremendous. The special effects were just unbelievable. Right? They were absolutely unbelievable. How they did those in the volume is mind-blowing. And that they were able to pull that off with such tremendous quality is wonderful. So I don't think there's any possible way theaters can survive. We keep seeing this kind of production improvement in streaming, where the studios can bring customers in-house who are paying them directly for content, and they're putting out the quality equivalent to movies. Equivalent. The special effects are untouchable, right? They're absolutely untouchable. So yeah, I think that's pertinent. Let's go up here just a little bit more. Mark, Thor's clutching negative straws. Yeah, Yeah, I'm critical of him. I am a Patreon supporter of him and Discord, and I respect what he's doing for the fan base. But yeah, I don't think his takes are as logical as he used to be. Yeah, uh, I think he's kind of fallen into a trap of negativity, where your mind gets into that kind of groove, and you start to see things from a certain point of view. To reuse that term, yeah, I think so. Been commenting so much I didn't see you respond about the filler. Yeah, yeah. If it's a good story, is it really filler? No. If it is filler, it's wonderful filler. Uh, Lots of attention to the speeders. Okay, we're gonna get into this mini movie. It's only a filler because we don't see the main plot progress. Some peeps whine. Yeah, they already have. But side missions execution is great and entertaining. Character depth. Yeah, I love all of it. I'm with you, Mark. All of these are home runs to me. Not all of them are all the way out of the park, but they're certainly over the fence. I wanted to bring up, Cobb Vanth. How, we talked a little bit earlier about how uh, uh, Aftermath it got tied in with Cobb Vanth. And we kind of expected Cobb Vanth with Timothy Oliphant was cast. How tremendous was Timothy Oliphant? How many of you want to see him again? Right, much like we saw in season 1 with our friend. Oh shoot! Why am I forgetting his name? Quill. Quill was one of the favorite side characters in season 1, and going back and revisiting him from time to time was fantastic. And we were talking as we were building up to season 2 how this is a space western, and we didn't have any sheriffs or marshals. And I speculated we might have some like Texas Rangers kind of things. Well, here we have a marshal. We have Timothy Oliphant playing Cobb Vanth. He is tremendous. He looks fantastic. And I do expect we're going to see him go back, and we're going to see Cobb Vanth join Mando, just like we saw Quill in season 1. I think we're going to go back. We're going to revisit Cobb Vanth. Cobb Vanth might even get that armor back. So I know that Mando took it, but he also saw that Cobb Vanth was using it in a good manner, even though he's not following the creed of the Mandalorians. There may be some giving him this armor back. And I thought this poster was fantastic. We talked about the earlier posters, and this was look at this poster. It's brilliant. He looks wonderful. Best hair award by far goes to Timothy Oliphant in my book. Boy, he pulled that character off. And it's again, we have people who can cosplay as Cobb Vanth, people who can dress up for costume, Halloween, whatever, as Cobb Vanth, reuse armor in a different way. Here it's beaten up. You can invent your own characters. You can beat up the armor in your own way. And you can come up with something that you can dress up with, you can cosplay as, and it's fantastic for the fandom. We talked about how the Mandalorian is repairing the fandom. I absolutely agree, and it's going to draw more people in, and we're going to see growth come out of this. I am super pumped about it, and I wanted to share this picture because wow, look at that! It's absolutely wonderful. Yeah, Mando's building a posse for sure. Meta Egg, absolutely. More Cobb Vanth, right? To steal a phrase, more cowbell. More Cobb Vanth, absolutely. Not enough Cobb Vanth. Let's see, Reefer Man. Timothy Oliphant was great as Cobb. Yes, I hope, even knowing he was supposed to be Cobb, when we saw him, I didn't expect to get Cobb Vanth so early. I was thrilled when I saw it. Wow. And you talk about a space western. Oh boy, that was fantastic. Yeah, we all agree. Mark, I think it's common in all the episodes, side missions, main plot chairs, Baby Yoda is repeatedly exposed to violence. I got to thinking about this, and I'll throw it out there. We see him as a baby. He's 50 years old. Maybe he's not such a baby after all. We just, in our own perspective, see him that way because he's so small, so diminutive. Even Yoda was very small at 300, right? And we know that the child is 50 years old. presumably we see him much as a toddler, like a 1-2-year-old, but a 50-year-old who's been using the Force. Look, Santa's 53. Oh my goodness! Look as young at 50. You will not, right? Right. To borrow Yoda's, but yeah, I think he just looks that way, but he actually has the maturity much higher than what we see, and he's kind of allowing people to misread him that way. And I think he's more powerful and he's more mature than we want to project on him due to his diminutive size, and he can use that to his favor. I wouldn't be shocked if he is somewhat adept, even with a lightsaber. I would not be shocked. Hope Cobb's back. Yes, I think he will. Mando's assembling a posse. Yep, we agree. They live in the Star Wars universe. There will be violence. He couldn't have had a better parent. True. It's called The Child, but I think he smokes and drinks whiskey. Oh, you've been hanging out with Trinity too much, Mike. That's great. So absolutely love Timothy Oliphant. And how about this? We've got, and a lot of people talked about his speeder being Anakin's pod racer engine. And so I've got these up here. So here you can see the speeder that Cobb Vanth is riding. And here's Anakin's pod racer. Now there's some differences for sure. We've got 3 fins here. There are only 2 fins here, but it would be understandable if the third was just not there. You've also got this red plate on the side. And this side here is just exposed engine, but this is also part of, I think, mounting the seat on the side. So I don't think this red plate on the side breaks anything. I do think it's Anakin's pod racer engine, and it's been modified. So this bottom fin is missing, and we've got a red plate added to the side with the seat added to it. I think that's absolutely what this is. And the callbacks to episode 1 in this episode were wonderful. Not only are they humanizing the Tuscans more, but I want to go back to this trailer again, this teaser. And I want to talk about something that I noticed earlier, and then I let go and I didn't talk about. I want to bring it up again and see what you all think. I think that this is. Hold on one second. Oh, when they show Tatooine. So here we go. So here we've got. You see of course, you see the skeleton here, but I think if you see the speeder going across this flat, I think this is the flat of the pod race where the Tuscans set up here on the cliff, and they were taking pot shots as the pod racers came around in this flat. I think this is the same flat that is in the pod races in episode 1. I think that this is the area where the Tuscans hang out, and that's why you see the skeleton up here. This is where they would hang out up on this plateau, and they would take pot shots down at the pod racers as they went by. And then just watch this scene as it goes by here, right? Tell me that doesn't look like that, right? I think that's absolutely it. So not only do we have that, but we've got Anakin's pod racer engine using. It's absolutely been modified and reconstructed. That's no doubt in my mind that that's what that is. And that this episode, Chapter 9, it has huge callbacks to the Phantom Menace, and it was kind of fun. And again, a lot of Star Wars fans have talked about how the Mandalorian is playing to the fan base in different ways. So, like the Sweaties, those of us who follow it a lot, we read a lot of the novels, we get talking about this kind of stuff for hours on end. We have a lot of fun with these discussions. We pick up on these little Easter eggs and we just nerd out. Other people, they see them, they're like, oh, that's cool. They may not even connect this pod racer engine back to Anakin's pod racer or that scene tying back to the pod race. And I think that's absolutely what it is. It was fun to see. I enjoyed it a lot. So lastly here, I want to talk about this Crate Dragon Pearl. Because for some of us, the video games are a gap. I don't play video games. I've shared with folks I've got a bit of a game addiction issue, and I had to get rid of game systems a long time ago. And I can't have them because it takes too much away from family, my life, and my work and everything. So my health, it's all bad. So I've made the decision to cut those out of my life. So I haven't got a lot of talk about this stuff, but the Crate Dragon Pearl came up in the video games, and there's both canon and legends versions. So we've talked about how if you go out to Wikipedia, they've got these two tabs, canon and legends. And as we talked a little bit before, Mike talked about it to some, Crate Dragon Pearls are they're found in bellies of crate dragons, right? And they're exceedingly rare and valuable. And it talks about how a polished Crate Dragon Pearl can be worth hundreds of thousands of credits. They corrosively digest and they dissolve down. And it says, rarely a stone would contain a Kyber crystal. The remaining the beast got refined over the life of the dragon until it formed a smooth, small sphere. Now, that's the case. Let's make this bigger for you guys. That's the case where you would end up with somebody using it in a lightsaber. And it said that they were a lightsaber equipped with one of these pearls emitted a very powerful and destructive blade that emitted a howling sound when ignited. So that's cool. And I think that's what a lot of people would love to see, is that Kyber crystal come out of that Crate Dragon's pearl. I just don't think that's the case here. It looked more just like a solid pearl, that it wasn't a whittled away Kyber crystal that had been rounded and smoothed. It would be much smaller, and it would already have been kind of polished within the belly of the Crate Dragon. And I don't see that happening. And in Legends, they talk a lot about these Crate Dragon pearls as well. They come in different colors, including blue, green, red, white, and black. Here, blue, green, red, white, and black. And the refractive quality, blah, blah, blah. Right? They could be used in a lightsaber. Tuscan Raiders is a sign of bravery. Of course it would, because where else are you going to find them? And then one of the illustrious owners of these was Revan. Now, there's a lot of talk about a Revan spinoff series, Revan coming up again in canon. Revan is tremendously popular, and to me, it's dangerous because of all of the lore built up over Revan over the years and how much people have invested in their fandom of Revan. And if you follow that too closely, I think you might get burnt. And to me, it's not worth the risk. So I don't know that we'll see Revan come back. I don't know that we're going to see this particular Crate Dragon Pearl used as a Kyber crystal or have a Kyber crystal in it. But it would be good to see that. And I get where people want to see that carried over. I just don't think that's the case. So that's it. So let me get caught up with the comments again, and we'll just kind of wrap things up. I'll say this about the child. He knows when the Mandalorian's about to go Mandalorian, closing the pod. Right. The clever joke. There are comedic moments, like when the child was in that pot, when the violence broke out in the saloon. It's not a saloon. They call them cantinas, but in the saloon, when the violence was about to break out there, he was in that pot. That was great. Call back to the Phantom Menace. The Phantom, not Phantom, Phantom. Oh, Mark, you notice the Pelgo villager wearing Doomcock mask. Mark, oh my goodness. Will the child speak this season? Good question. Again, I kind of speculate that I think he's far more mature than they are giving him credit, and he's using that. Have you ever seen anybody play dumb just to let somebody else hang themselves? I've seen it done in business where somebody knows something and they'll let somebody talk themselves into a corner, get themselves in trouble by what they said, and then hang them with it because they play dumb and let the person hang themselves. And I think in this case, one of the defensive mechanisms of diminutive species like the child Yoda Yaddle, I think one of the things that they may do is use their diminutive status to play dumb, right? To play weak. And in this case, he's not spoken, not because he can't or he doesn't know words, but just because it plays into that defensive mechanism. And by playing dumb and playing as a child, and he's actually far more mature than he gives credence to, then I think that we're going to see eventually that facade given away, much like Yoda. Remember, Yoda played dumb with Luke, even, right? And he played silly and stealing his food and the candy bar and this and that. And Luke was like, "Oh, I can't deal with this." And Yoda was playing that up, right? Yoda was playing dumb, but then he reveals himself to be a wise, mature Jedi master. And I think in this case, the child is not a child at all. He's playing down, and I think that's exactly what's happening. And I think that he is gathering this information. He knows what's going on, and he's pretending to be a child, but he's 50-year-old trained Force user. So for folks that have complained about the powers that he shows, I think that's the case. So yeah, don't do that. Right. It's the same thing, right? Luke did that with Yoda. Oh, come on, don't. You're going to break it. All of that happened with Luke and Yoda. Baby Yoda going to drop a verbal smackdown. No, I wouldn't be surprised if, like I said, if he's adept at using a lightsaber. And it's going to be one of those moments. It's truly, it's in my head. I've built this in my head now, and I think that's what's going on. So look, I want to thank you all again for stopping in. I don't know how many people are still with us, but look, we've had a great conversation, a lot to get caught up on, and I've enjoyed it today. Let me just cover the notes I wanted to talk about. 51 days till Christmas. We've got the site up for JingleRing. Use Jingle40 as the code to get me. Mando Monday this week's terrible, right? The Hasbros need to get their act together. Not that the products are bad. It's just that their delivery mechanism's a mess. The episode titles are wrong. People who think that this next episode is still going to be the confrontation, that's definitely not going to be the title. And certainly Mandalorians are Star Wars versions of Iron Man. And I'm not critical of that. I'm just seeing the comparison and how well it's going to build for fan base, children who want to dress up as Mandalorians, who want to have the toys and the play. It's going to be great. The Monster of the Week works as long as the story works. And theatrical releases are in trouble with the quality of these episodes. I love Tuscans being humanized more. It makes what Anakin did that much more severe and puts it in different light. Really, really good. Also, I didn't mention here, but it's interesting that Tuscan Sign Language was developed by a guy who is deaf. He speaks American Sign Language, uses American Sign Language. Santa knows a little bit of American Sign Language as well, like Santa Claus, right? This is Santa Claus. But that's that. And he was specific to make this Tuscan Sign Language, not American Sign Language. It's its own language. So that's really cool. And Cobb Vanth. And for those of us who are in the Nerd Vengers, we're part of the Den of Nerds community. Happy birthday, Black Men Lavas. If you catch this, I just wanted to as well. Even though you're on the naughty list, Santa knows it's your birthday. So it's good to see you. Good to see you. Mark, do a speculation video on the next episode. Okay, we can maybe do that tomorrow. That'd be good. All right, folks. Hope you all have a wonderful, blessed, fantastic day. And until we join again, Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye-bye.